Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to ASP.NET Code tutorial for beginner playlist. As we have made 9 videos related to ASP.NET Core, and this is part 10 on ASP.NET Core, and in this video we will discuss about a new thing that is repository pattern in ASP.NET Core. In the same video, we will discuss 3 things. We will use code first approach, and we'll discuss dependency injection here, and the third thing, we'll use our design pattern, that is repository pattern. Okay, as I already have mentioned all these things in my blog, you may read this from the below description in this video. Okay, the agenda of this video is dependency injection, repository pattern, and code first approach. As we all are familiar with this, that this is an approach to design database while writing the entity first. So we'll use here, oftenly I use database first approach in my videos, so this one should be the different one. The audience should know about something code first approach. And another thing is repository pattern. We'll discuss that what is repository pattern first. Let's move towards what is dependency injection. Okay, basically dependency injection is nothing, it is just a concept in design pattern which can reduce the hard-coded dependencies among your classes by injecting the dependencies at runtime. And basically there are 3 types of dependency injection, like one is constructor, property, and method. I have explained all these things in detail in my blog, so you can visit it and you can read this article for knowing about dependency injection. It's like just you are developing an application without any pattern, and suppose your application is completed. In the future you are required to change a single line of code, a single line of code, and suppose that single line of code is depending on all the business logic, so you cannot move that single line of code or cannot remove that from your application, so your application will crash. You can understand by seeing this picture. This building is constructed without any plan. If I am required to change any single brick, then all the structure will go down and destroy. The same thing happens to your code if you do not plan for your code and do not use any design pattern. So we'll use the dependency injection for future maintenance. Okay, now let's move towards, first of all we'll have to create a new project. So I'm going to create a new project, and we'll select ASP.NET Core Web Application and click OK, and we'll use Web Application MVC and OK. Everything is mentioned in my blog, so you don't have to worry about the steps. First of all, you need to make sure that when you create the project, you will have all these folder, controller, model, and view. Let's just check it. Okay, fine, all these folders are present. The next thing, we need to make a entity. So basically this is a student entity. ID, name, address, email are the attributes of the student. So we are basically making a table. Okay, so just copy it and come back to the model folder. So we just have a error view model. I'll add a new class and name it as TBL student, or you may write any other thing, TBL underscore student. So I just wrote it TBL student. Okay, and I just copy all these attributes, this get set property, and paste it over here. Okay, fine. Okay, the next thing is I need to make a class of by choosing this. Now I'm choosing this name, you can choose any other name. So I'm selecting the name dependency injection context. make another class, add a new class that is okay. I need to make two constructor in that class though. First of all, I'll write CTOR. Okay, this is the default constructor, and we'll have to make a parameterized constructor too. So don't worry, I will just copy and paste all the code from over here. You can do the same thing. You don't have to write all the code again and again. And now it's showing an error because I did not have added the reference. So when I hover here, it shows an intelligence to add using Microsoft Identity Framework Core. Okay, fine. It's showing some kind of error. Why? Okay, I do not have TBL student. Okay, naming convention problem. So I just need to change name over here. I am copying it and willing to change this class. Fine. Okay, why it is showing some kind of error? I forget to inherit that class using DBContext. Okay, when I inherit this DBContext, all the error goes off. So when you are using, basically this class will make a connection between your application and database. So if you are having multiple tables, then you need to add the reference or the line of code public virtual DB set and name of your table and the accessor name modifier, sorry. Okay, so right now I just have one table. You can have multiple, you can create many more tables, and for accessing that table you need to reference that table over here. Okay, the next step is you need to make a repository. Okay, first of all you need to make sure that what is repository pattern. So let's just move towards. Okay, basically the repository pattern in C# is used to create an abstraction layer between the data and access layer, between data access layer and the business logic layer of application. Normally we do not have anything between the data access layer and business logic layer. Our application is directly, our business logic layer is directly communication with access layer. Access layer is directly communicating with business logic layer and taking data to the presentation layer. So in this method we just have an abstraction layer between the data access layer and business logic layer. That means the repository pattern allow us to separate the data access from access code from the rest of the application. So it is quite easy to perform this. You don't have to worry about the theoretical concept. So let's just move towards the code. Okay, to create an abstraction layer, that an abstraction layer means an interface. Click on new item and click an interface and name it as iStudent repository, which is provided over, so it will be easy for me to perform very quick. And I'm adding repository and make sure it should be public, and copying all the method. As we all know that in interface we just have method signature, and there should not be any implementation in interface. We cannot use any implementation. If I try to implement any method in interface, this will show me a compile time error. My entity name is TBL student. Right now I need to make everything change. Okay, fine. Okay, as you can see, this is the only method signature. There is no implementation. If I try to provide any implementation, it will give some kind of an error. Now you can see it's showing an error because in interface there is 100% abstraction. You cannot define the method. you cannot define the implementation of method in interfaces. So the next step would be to create a class that will implement that I student repository. So I'm making a class named as SQL Repository. Add it, new class. Okay, SQL Repository. Okay, and implement that I student repository in this. So it will give you some kind of error because you haven't applied any implementation of, you haven't provided any implementation of those methods which are defined in the interface. So when you over here, it will show SQL repository does not implement interface member all these methods. So right click and click on implement interface. All the method will be shown over here, and there is no implementation. We need to write the business logic by myself. So I will add delete, get all the records, get single record, and update. For the time being, we have just applied a few things. Okay, I'm copying all the code for saving my time, and will explain you. Okay, fine. As you can see, I have created the reference of dependency injection context, which is the class which I made in the first, and I told you that this class will communicate as a bridge between data access layer and your database and application. Okay, but there is no new keyword. I'm not creating any new keyword for this. That DBContext is equals to new dependency injection, because I'm using constructor injection over here. Constructor dependency injection. You can see I just created this, and I'm passing dependency injection context DB, and this will assign to this. This is equals to DB, and when I'm willing to add any new record from the parameter, it is adding to tbl student.add db.savechanges entity framework method. Same for the delete and get all single record, fetching by id, and I didn't provide update code, update implementation. So right now we just are showing this. Okay, now I need to go to the startup file. There is a startup file. Where is, here it is. Okay, I need to write some code in the startup file, and where in this configure service I need to add the following line that I'm going to write. As I show you that you should write all this highlighted line. Okay, you need to write this line of code, service.add DBContext, and here dependency injection context is not referenced. So I will have to add using web application 4.model, because dependency injection context is present in this model folder. Okay, and there is an additional error, use SQL server. So I will have to add a reference for this, and the reference is using Microsoft Entity Framework Core, and this will be the name of my connection string. So I will copy it and go to the app setting.json, and will write a connection string over here, connection strings, this bracket, and paste, and will write the connection string here. Okay, as I have provided the pattern of writing the connection string, so you don't have to worry about the connection string. You may just copy from my block, copy and paste over here. Okay, remove this. Fine. It is showing some kind of error. Server. Okay, I just removed the terminator from here. Okay, server dot means my current PC, current server. Database name will be student DB. I'm changing this. DB test repository. This will be the name of my database, and the password of database is XYZ123. Okay, fine. Now come back to the startup.cs class. Okay, everything is fine. You just have to add these 2 lines of code in configure service. Okay, next thing is to write this command add migration and update database. Our database will be created. Okay, come to the package manager console and write this command add migration initial. Okay, fine. As you can see, there is a migration folder created and some classes created. Now I need to write another command, that is update database, and it will create a database for me in my SQL server. Okay, fine, done. Now let's just move to this and refresh it. Check database, and still it is not created. What was the name of DB test repository? So we need to check the DB. Okay, fine, here it is. So I will just have to write DB use DB test repository. Okay, we are in the database, and let's find out. Okay, you can see the table has been created. If I had made few more entities, some few more tables would be created. So let's just check it, what is present in the table. I am sure that there would be nothing. Select all from TBL student. Okay, insert into TBL student values. Okay, email is okay, fine. I have added a record. Few more records. Now let's just check it that whether it is working or not. Fine, just come back to the controller, home controller. Okay, and it's time to consume that data that we have created recently. Now let's just check how did we created all these things. Okay, fine. Just right click on index method, add view, and select list from here. The model class will be TBL student, so it will automatically create a template for us that's called scaffolding. Click add. Okay, now I need to add few line of code to show the data. Okay, as you can see, I just have to create a instance of my interface, and we'll have to provide this over here. So it's time to write all the code. I student repository that I created and name it as DB. Okay, and mark it as private for only this. Okay, and we'll have to make a constructor because constructor injection. DB. Okay, this dot db is equals to db. Okay, in this method I will just call the method that I have created, db dot get all the records. Now let's just run it. Okay, fine. Now you can see the data is being shown over here. Okay, fine. That's all for this video. I'll elaborate some more thing related to this. Okay, and please do one more thing, to like, share and subscribe to my channel. The views are getting decreased because I was not interacting with my YouTube audience. And if anyone want my personal training, then you can contact me on my email or Facebook. I have provided all the things related, all my contacts on my this channel. If you are willing to contact me, you can visit my Facebook page, you can contact me, visit me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and I also have provided my personal email over here. So you can just see my personal email and you can mail me. And I am having a institute in Gulshan Iqbal block 5. If you are willing to come there physically by getting training physically by me, then you can visit my Gulshan Iqbal training center. That name is Cryptics Institute of Technology. I will provide the link, Facebook page link, in the description. You can come on weekend. I'm just present there on weekend, else you will have to meet a front desk officer. Okay, that's all for this video. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.